Yes. Welcome to another great episode of the Ashish and Friends podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ashish. You can hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at Ashish Airy. Of course, I'm joined by my longtime friends. We've got Shahan at Shahan Jayaraja. We've got Dev. You can hit him up at Supaleza at Supaleza. We've got Ryan as well. So we've got full house today. We have another great episode coming your way. So today we're actually going to discuss vacations. During this quarantine period in 2020, we can't really travel anywhere. But, we love traveling. We probably have a long list of places we want to go. So today we're going to draft them. And without further ado, let me get a draft order ready. But just in general, what do you guys look for when you guys go on vacation? Sean, you want to start first?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away too much of sort of the direction I'm going, of course, but obviously there's different things that you look for. For me, a lot of the time it's activities, it's things to do. Obviously, there are other types of vacations where you're looking for some place to relax. I mean, the big thing is obviously just trying to disconnect from where you are. That's what it comes down to. Some place that's different, and all of us obviously live in Texas. So that's gonna obviously inform some of it. If we lived somewhere else, we lived in Hawaii, it would probably inform our decisions some other way. But there are a lot of different factors that kind of go into it. And again, I don't want to go too far into it because I don't want to give away some of my strategy.
Fair enough. Well, I'm just going to show my cards here. I really love relaxing on my vacations. I mean, of course, I love touristy vacations as well, where there's a lot of things to do. But for me personally, if I'm trying to vacate, I'm just trying to shut down my phone, turn off my laptop, just, enjoy myself and relax.
I'm right there with you, Ashish. That's my preferred style of vacation. So don't get me wrong, I love doing stuff, and there's plenty of vacations where we would go do things that I'm looking forward to, but for me, if I had to pick one vacation, like one thing I want to do in 2020, it'd be somewhere to where I could just go relax, lay out for 3 days, and really unwind.
Right, and I think after being cooped up for so long, that's exactly what you want to do. What's up, Ryan?
Yeah, I second everybody. I second Shahan. I was going to say the same exact thing, just disconnect from your life, kind of just get away from everything that's going on. And then the second thing is just to be with the people that you love and to hang out, especially the ones that you can't be with all the time, being able to visit those people.
True. Yeah. So funny story is actually this year, me and Ryan had something planned, and that worked out because of personal reasons too, but definitely is not working out because of this COVID-19 stuff. So that sucks. So the rules for this draft is that there's nothing, you can choose anything you want. We're particularly talking about cities specifically, hopefully just one. And when it comes to other things, we'll discuss it. It can be places you haven't been to, just places you really want to go to. But if you've already been there and you want to go back, totally okay. All right, so we've got the order. So at number 4, we've got Shahan picking. At number 3, it's me. And number 2, we've got Dev, which means, Ryan, you have the number 1 overall pick. Which way are you going, buddy?
For my number 1 pick, since I have it, I don't know what direction anybody's going, but I'm going to take Honolulu, Hawaii. I've never been there, but I heard Hawaii is a nice place to relax, has nice beaches, nice volcanoes, a nice setting. So I just want to visit it and relax there and get lost in the nature. And yeah.
Well, I think that Ryan, I understand the thought process, but I think you actually picked the wrong part of Hawaii. I mean, Honolulu is a little bit. It definitely has all the beach and all that sort of stuff, but I think that when you think of Hawaii, you're actually thinking of another place that may get taken later.
Well, I don't know all the cities in Hawaii, so. But
Ryan,
take the capital because that.
Ryan, do you know? What was I going to say? Do you know which island that's on? Honolulu, that is.
Not at all.
Is it the Big Island?
It's Oahu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I know which one I would have taken if I know which one.
No, actually, Honolulu itself is just like a city area. So, I'm okay giving you Oahu too. But just in general, I've actually been able to go, and it's a lovely place. Of course, you got the beaches. The hiking there is actually really amazing.
I think Hawaii is small enough. You could say he gets the Hawaii.
I think
that's a very fair assessment.
especially because he's saying Hawaii. What he really means is Maui. Like that's really what he's more talking about.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I just don't know what it is. I'm like,
I think definitely Hawaii is small enough that I don't think. I mean, if we have 3 people pick Hawaii, I just
I'd be fine. So, with the next pick, the way I was looking, we're done talking about Hawaii, right? So.
I mean, I kind of wasn't, but it's okay. We can move along. We'll go back to it later. I was just going to say Hawaii is beautiful. You've got the beaches, and you've got a lot of hiking. In Oahu specifically, you've got Diamond Head Mountain, which I really enjoyed. I actually went to Maui as well, which was really beautiful. And there's so many other islands I haven't been to yet, but they all have like specific different things. Like Kauai itself is a very peaceful area. There's not too many beaches. It's just like a lot of gardening stuff going around. But yeah, really good pick. And since you got all of Hawaii, I'm very jealous now. Dev, go ahead. You're up.
So I'm not sure if we want to split this one up or not. So I'm going to draft the city, and then if you want to give me the whole country with this one, you can say that. And I'm going to draft Montego Bay. So for me, Jamaica is just where we traveled a lot as a family. It just holds a special place in my heart. My mom used to have an office out there, so she would travel there for work quite a bit. So, being a little kid, we just tagged along. It's the summer. Where else would you rather be? You got great food. I love jerk chicken, and Grace's hot sauce is amazing hot sauce. Red Stripe's a great beer. So I love Jamaica. It's the perfect place for me.
I feel like Hawaii and Jamaica are like brothers in terms of the island nature.
And for me personally, so Jamaica is interesting because it has like different cities obviously, and the beach experiences in each city is very different. But I prefer Montego Bay, which is in that cove. It's very calm beaches. You wouldn't be able to go surfing there. It's definitely not that kind of beach. It's just a relaxed, wade out in the water kind of beach.
Yeah, for sure. So I haven't been yet. First of all, I just want to try some Red Stripe right now, to be honest. For sure, I'll just give you Jamaica for sure, because I don't think there's any specific places. We're not just going to do that. And Jamaica is more wide known. So pretty awesome. I know you travel there all the time. Hella jelly. Definitely need to check it out at some point. Ryan, I don't think they're brothers. Maybe like long lost brothers or something.
There you go.
I mean,
yeah, hella Jamaica.
Yeah. Sean, have you ever been?
We stopped there on a cruise, but I've never actually been to Jamaica.
Okay. Oh, where did you go for the cruise? Montego Bay or Ochos Rios? Or?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer on it.
Somewhere in Jamaica.
Yeah, I mean it was probably Montego Bay, honestly.
Yeah,
that's where the majority of the cruises stop.
Yeah, and I think that we might have even stopped. Because we made 3 or 4 stops, we might have even stopped in more than one place.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, you don't really get a true experience stopping on a cruise.
Yeah, it's different. I've stopped in, I've taken a cruise through the Bahamas too, and I'll be honest, I don't know where we were for most of it. Right. That's kind of the way cruises work.
Basically, we got off the boat, and I got my mind blown seeing how many Indian people there were with Jamaican accents, and then we left.
Dang. All right. Well, that puts me up. Kind of weird position. I think we both went, the first 2 picks went towards the beach. So I wasn't going to take the beach here. I thought it'd slide to me later, but I'm just going to be safe. I'm going to take Bora Bora. That's been at the top of my list. My Instagram page right now has kind of looked like my Tumblr page from back in the day. It's just all beaches and, architecture and cars these days. And Bora Bora pops up the most often. You got those little huts, which look fantastic. You're just like chilling in your bathtub, cooling, and then you just walk out and you're just back in the water. The water is just like that perfect turquoise, light turquoise color. It's just spectacular. So I'm going to take that here and feel very good about it. It's been at the top of my board for a long time. Definitely plan on going there soon.
Well, I will be the first to go ahead and move off this beach trend. For me, something I didn't want to mention. I'm glad that apparently I'm going to be the only one really angling for this, but I'm a city person. I love going into cities. I love exploring. I love seeing sort of the culture of that. I love beaches too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm a city person through and through. And with my number 1 pick, I'm going to take London. London to me is my favorite city maybe in the world that I've ever been to. I love how compact it is. I love, the transportation there is so easy. There's so much culture there. The cool thing about London too is that you really are at a gateway to the rest of Europe too, because you can get on a train and go places. It's very, very easy. Not that I get those places, obviously, but it's a place where you have access to really all of Europe. I think just such a cool culture, so many things to do, such a great place to walk around. And again, for me too, it's obviously special because I have a lot of family there. So, we were actually planning to go to London for a couple of days this summer, and unfortunately, obviously, it's not going to happen. But London is always, always, always one of my favorite places to visit.
I assume you've been to London too, Ashish, considering your family.
Yeah, I have. Funny enough, me and Sean have actually talked about London quite extensively personally. But yeah, like same reasons. I have a lot of family there. I've been there a couple of times. That's kind of the only place I've been to in Europe. And like Shahan said, like, yeah, the public transportation is amazing. The buses, the tubes, and like he said, like, I forgot which station it is, but you can take those trains to like Paris or to Spain and whatever. And I definitely want to do that in the future. But yeah, really good pick. It's like a third rounder for me because I've already been there enough times. I don't want to go back again. But just the whole vibe and the culture is quite amazing. So really good pick there.
I like that picture, Han. The resting place of the guardian of the Baha'i faith, Shoghi Effendi, actually lays in England. I don't know if it's in London, but I know it's in England, and I always wanted to go to England. So yeah. And also they drive on the left side, right? And the steering wheel is on the right side.
A lot of the world does, yes.
Yeah. Well, all of the world, it's a British thing.
Yes. So yes, the Commonwealth.
All of the Commonwealth does, but. Because it's interesting. I always thought it was a Europe thing, but no, it's really just a British thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm obviously back to back here. This is pretty tough for me, honestly. Because again, I'm not the hugest beach person. I thought that more of my picks would maybe be off the board, so I really don't know what direction to go here in a lot of ways. So looking at the board. And I gotta anticipate you guys too. That's the other hard part about this. I'm just gonna. I'll take my beach here. Okay, I'm gonna go with the Maldives. So the Maldives, in the Indian Ocean, absolutely beautiful place. Some of the best beaches in the whole world. Just a very peaceful place. Obviously they're tourists, but it isn't kind of overwhelmed by tourists. Like, I don't think that necessarily any of the names on our board are necessarily overwhelmed with tourists. But I think it's a really unique area, and it's a place that I've always wanted to visit.
Very nice. Yeah, definitely a huge beach person, so it's on the list somewhere. I haven't obviously been yet,
somewhere,
but definitely heard good things about it. Yeah, my list is quite long,
Yeah,
so it is what it is.
An entire world to draft from.
Right. Get the world in my hands here. Oh wow. Well, you guys the Maldives stuff.
Sorry, I cut out. What did you say?
No worries. I said, did you have any input on the Maldives pick?
Nope, go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Ryan, you're cutting up for me a little bit. We'll get back to you soon. I'll just go ahead and take my second round pick here. I'm going to have to go with Santorini, Greece. I think, like I said, I've been seeing a lot of pictures lately. It's a huge honeymoon spot. Just the views are spectacular. Obviously, once you think of it, you think of all those like blue ceiling type things going on, and just the view of the water down below. I think it's fantastic. I can't wait to go there. Just think it'll be a very breathtaking place to go. And hopefully on my trip, obviously I'm not getting these, but like I would like to hit up Athens for all the history over there, and Mykonos is like a huge party city. So I'm looking forward to my trip to Greece. But yeah, definitely Santorini is the place I'm looking forward to the most.
Were you hinting at something when you mentioned honeymoon?
No. Breaking news on the Ashish and Friends podcast. No, nothing that's happening right now. We'll see. Make it happen, people. Just hit me up. At Ashish Airy. Okay. But yeah, I love Santorini. Bora Bora and Santorini are the two places I see the most when seeing vacation pictures. So we're very happy with that. So that puts Dev back on the board.
All right, so with the first pick, I got Jamaica, and it's pretty versatile, but it's mostly obviously known for the beaches. But so I'm going to take something that's known less for their beaches, but more for the island itself, and that's New Zealand. So I've been to Australia. I've never been to New Zealand, but from what I heard, it's basically like I get all of Australia without having to travel everywhere to get it. It's very compact. It's got, you can you can be in one central location and do beach, you can do jungle, you can do lakes, all in one central location. And so it's a really interesting place because of that, and that's why I want to go visit.
I've never been to New Zealand either. I stopped there going to Australia, but I've never been there.
You guys have both been to Australia. This is breaking news for me. Did not know about this.
My uncle lives in Australia.
It was super low on the list for me just because getting there sounds like the worst thing of all time, like a 20-hour in the year. Not a big fan of that. But yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of the cricket grounds in New Zealand, and they look spectacular, and they always show like the backdrops of the areas. So it's a very beautiful area. Definitely on the list at some point, but just not that high for me.
Qantas is a good airline, so it's not too bad of a flight. I mean, it's not like really long of a flight, but I think Qantas is a good airline. It makes it manageable.
That is part of like the reasoning too of why I liked traveling to New Zealand and Australia, because Qantas is like that fantastic compared to other airlines.
Damn, I'll keep that in mind. Well, then that puts Ryan. Ryan, you've got 2 back-to-back picks here. Where are we going, buddy?
This is tough. But I'm choosing this next pick. I'm choosing the Vatican City. I think there's a lot of history and culture there, a lot of churches and the Pope, and there's a lot of historical artifacts to learn from. And that's something I'm interested to see. I haven't been there or Italy at all. So I think just being there right next to Rome and Italy and the cuisine and that culture, learning there, I think that's like Shahan was saying, mentioning the cities and that sort of thing, being able to explore and visit. So that will be my second pick. And then, any comments? No.
Well, this is another kind of interesting one though, where like if you had taken Rome, I mean, would you have kind of gotten the Vatican with it too, basically? You know, because they're really close to each other, obviously.
No, I think the cities in Italy are distinct enough experiences.
Yeah, I agree on that one. Well, you should have just gone with Rome and then been like, I'm going to take a side trip to the Vatican City. But
that's what I'm saying.
All right, what about your third pick?
I think this third pick, I'm gonna go to somewhere in the United States. Be the first one to venture in the home of the United States of America for this pick. I'm gonna choose Austin, Texas.
Oh my god.
Hook 'em horns. I think the Shahan knows. Shahan's disappointed. I took his pick.
No, you basically live in Austin, Ryan.
I saw the travel there, and it's one of the best places to be in Texas. You got kayak, you got the nature, you got Lady Bird Lake, you got the University of Texas at Austin, you got these sports teams of the nation at some points.
That's like me taking Rockwall.
Yeah. Yeah. Surprisingly, we did not get a hook 'em horns for the camera.
Yeah.
So there it is. I actually really love Austin. I like traveling there a lot, and for me, one of the things I look at in the city is, do they have an elite drinking experience? And 6th Street to me is up there with the best drinking experiences in the U.S. It's elite. I love 6th Street.
Yeah, I mean, I love Austin, right? Like that, there is no question at all that I love Austin, Texas. You know, it's definitely a place that I'd look at to move. But like, we're talking about the world here. Like, we're talking about every place in the world.
That is one of the places of the world.
That's true.
All right. Well, speaking of one of those worldly places, with my next pick, I really didn't expect it to fall this far, but I'm going to take Paris, right? Mm. So Paris is really, when you think of Europe, to me, I think of Paris. Like, that's the city that I associate the most with European, with luxury, with different lifestyles, with food. Paris is just a great city, fashion, and there's so much to do in Paris. I went there. We only spent 3 days. One of the days our luggage was lost, so we didn't really get to spend enough time because we're trying to figure out what's going on with our luggage for half the time. I really want to go back. There's just so much to do in Paris. I wish I could have spent a week there. Beautiful city.
Yep. No, that was the highest thing on my board. I had it third. I obviously got my two that I really wanted, but Paris is really up there. Like you said, when you think Europe, Paris is like at the top of the list. Maybe London's there as well, but yeah, I haven't personally been yet, and I definitely do want to go at some point. But I think you got a steal here, Dev. Very good pick.
Yeah, I was debating.
Well, it's not quite Austin, Texas, but
it's the Austin of Europe, to be
That's
honest.
the Austin
debating between
That's what they
Austin
say.
oh, that's interesting. That's actually interesting.
I no, I do not see it.
I was debating between the Austin and Paris. And I had to
You
go
should
with,
have taken Paris.
Were you taking Paris, France, or Paris, Texas? That's the
Paris,
question.
France. Paris, France.
I won't give you crap for it, Ryan. I really love the Austin pick. If I was going back to the U.S., it's probably one of the top cities I'd choose. But like Shahan said, we have the whole world, so I don't plan on going back to the U.S. anytime soon. But I love Austin. We've talked about it a lot.
Actually, because Austin is one of the places I'm excited to because I think it might get some semblance of actually being able to go this year. So it was actually on my list. I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, and Ryan can go there in just 30, 40 minutes right now. So,
Yeah.
get it off your list. Okay, well, that puts me back on board. And right here, I'm going to take kind of like the beach vibes, except the total opposite because it's super cold. I'm going to take Iceland. More specifically, Reykjavik, which is like the capital. But just overall, all the pictures are stunning. I've had quite a few friends that have been there, just like the Blue Lagoon, all those areas, the hot springs. It just seems so enjoyable. Obviously different from beach vibes, but at the same time, just relaxing, not a lot of touristy stuff. Just go there, chillax. And I'm looking forward to that trip. Hopefully I'll go there soon. So yeah, I'll take that with my third pick and feel very good about it.
I like it.
Well, I'll go ahead and stay in the U.S. again. I'm a big city person, and to me, one of the greatest cities in the world is New York. I was actually last night for whatever reason I was just sitting there, and I was really really sad that I won't have a chance to go to New York this year because it is one of the cities in the world that has the most to do out of any city. Fantastic transportation. Again, it's still a pretty compact city that you can go all over, get all sorts of different cultures. I mean, New York is just where things happen. New York is the center of the world in a lot of ways. And every time I go there, I mean, don't do the touristy stuff. That stuff's a waste, but like Broadway's fantastic. All the culture there is fantastic. It's got amazing restaurants. Like it is the whole package whenever you go and visit a city. And look, if I had a chance to go one place right now, well, it'd probably be London, but after that, it would probably be New York City.
It also has the Knicks.
Yeah, I want to go to Madison Square Garden for a game. I saw a concert there when I interned there over a summer, but I've never been to a Knicks game at MSG. And I actually went to a New York Liberty game, too. So I have been to a sporting event, but I still need to go see Bulls-Knicks. I always said growing up that my dreams to go see a courtside Bulls-Knicks game, although I might have to wait until they're a little better.
Yeah, I'm also really excited about the Barclays Center. I think it would be really cool to attend a game there, too. So you get two elite basketball stadiums.
Yeah. Well, and I did the NBA draft at Barclays when I was there. I actually got to cover it. So I mean, two elite stadiums. I mean, obviously, it's also very well situated. I think where you could make a day trip somewhere else too. If you wanted to go to Boston or Philly or something like that. But I think that obviously if you go to New York, you could spend a year in New York and never even come close to starting to experience it. And I think that's one of the coolest things about it.
And not to spark too much of a debate, but it is the best pizza in the U.S. So
yeah, it is. And the thing is too is that if you don't feel that way, you know what you can do? You can go to another pizza restaurant in New York because they'll have it. They have everything.
Or you can go on the street and there's people selling food on the street.
When I interned in New York over a summer, I probably ate like halal cart food probably at least 4 times a week, if not more. Like it is. Yeah, it's so good. It is. It's among my favorite foods in the world.
I think when you're looking at the U.S., New York's definitely one of the top destinations. And like we said, I'm not a huge city person or touristy, but there's just so much to do, and that's definitely one place I'd love to go, just because there is so much, to do there. And obviously the culture with the basketball, you've got all the, Wall Street, everything is just spectacular of New York. Very good pick. My favorite Italian joint in New York, classic Sabaros. Obviously that's where you want to go when you're in New York. Pulling a Michael Scott right there. All right, well, Shahan, you've got back-to-back picks. You got your last pick here. Where are you headed?
I mean, again, there's like 50 things that I could pull off this board right now. Look, I think I got my two. I think I've arguably got like the two best cities in the world. If you're talking about like cities. Now, I mean, I think that there are some other options there too, but if you're talking about like an urban destination, I think New York and London is as elite a pairing as you're gonna get. I feel like I've got my beach city. So I think I want an experience city. And actually, this isn't even necessarily going to be just a city. I'm going to go with South Africa. So if we want to get really specific about it, I'll pick Cape Town, South Africa. But it's a sort of place that's, again, great culture. There's a big influence of Dutch culture mixed with a lot of traditional African culture as well. And the big thing about Cape Town, too, is that you have easy access to be able to go and do things like nature related. And so, for example, you can go see animals in the wild. You can go see, go on a hike and see some amazing sights, things like that. Like the Cape down at the bottom of of Africa. I mean, it's incredible. And look, I think that it's a good contrast to sort of the other cities I have too. So I'm going to take South Africa.
That's a very unique pick. I always wanted to go to Africa itself. Visit every continent. I think South Africa. I think it's actually a unique place in Africa too, like compared to the rest of Africa. I think that's a cleverly picked place.
Yeah, you kind of get a lot of the different experiences that Africa has to offer all in one place.
Yeah, and you get to see a lot of Indian people.
Yeah. Well, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that puts me up with my last pick here. And honestly, I'm just going to have to go off the board with this one. There's still a lot of Europe places I really want to go to. I've gotten my beach. I've gotten my Explore City with Santorini. So, I'm just going to have to choose something back in the U.S. since everyone's going back that way. I'm going to have to go with my hometown of Los Angeles. My home city. Los Angeles is right there with New York, totally different vibes. But like, if you want star power, those are the two cities in the U.S. I think. Of course, you've got the beaches, only about hour and a half away, which I love. And yeah, just so much touristy things to do, but just awesome to be home as well. And like I said, you can go. You got the nightlife, you got the beaches. I think it's a fantastic pairing for me, and I love it right here in the fourth. So I'm happy with it.
I'm actually going to stick in the U.S. too, and it's probably a city that's not on any of your guys' draft boards, but it's a city I personally love, and that's Las Vegas. So I know, like Shahan talked about, he wanted to avoid like a very touristy city. Vegas is the definition of a touristy city, and you talk about New York City being the best city. We got New York in Vegas. We got Paris in Vegas. We got a ton of different little experiences that you can do. I love shopping there. I love gambling. I love nightclubs. I love drinking. It's so much fun, and it's a great time. And one of the best things you can do when you're in Vegas is take a day trip over to the Grand Canyon. So if you ever go to Vegas, then definitely consider doing it. The Grand Canyon is one of the most surreal experiences you'll have. And I love Vegas. I think it's a great city.
Are you sure you don't want to take Epcot?
No, I'm gonna stick with that. I did consider Disney World, but I think Vegas is fun.
Vegas is
a good pick. It's like one of the marks of the United States. I mean, you have to go there once. Like one of those places. You think New York, you think Los Angeles, you think Las Vegas, like places you have to visit.
It's not an experience for everyone. So I think there are people who know that they never want to go to Vegas and they won't miss out. But for the people who want that kind of experience, it is elite at what it does.
Yeah, no, it's I think one of the best cities in the U.S. I need to go back soon. I know you go quite often to Las Vegas.
I've been like 6-7 times. I love it. So every time. See, I went to college in Indiana, so a lot of us are way spread out. So bachelor parties tend to happen in Vegas because it's a cheap place everyone can fly to.
Right. No, great choice for sure. It's the classic for sure. I mean, yeah, you got so much to do. Obviously, the gambling's huge, but outside of that, there's so many shows going on, right? You got the Blue Man Group. You can go see the magicians do their stuff. It's fantastic. You get everything you really want. Vegas and that little strip. It's not huge, and like you said, yeah, they have the Paris. They have the little small Eiffel Tower there. I love that place. And
You can do
we'll have
bungee
to go soon.
jumping too. They have that. They have the zip lining through there. There's a lot of different experiences you can get in Vegas. It's really, because it's a tourist city, you can customize it to your experience.
Right, right. No, really good pick. All right,
Um,
Ryan, you started us off. How about you guys? How about you finish us with your last pick right here, Ryan?
With my last pick, I'm taking Haifa, Israel. Haifa is where the Baha'i shrines are. It's a pilgrimage. It's the equivalent, the kind of Mecca for Muslims. And that's just a side. I love going there. I love going there on pilgrimage. It's the most beautiful side. It's, as we mentioned, one of the first things you mentioned in this podcast, distancing yourself from your life for a period of time. That's what it is. It's like a refuge from everything else going on in the world, a place to pray, beautiful gardens and shrines that are kept 24/7, people serving there year round. It's just a beautiful place with like-minded people coming there to pray and to meditate and to, you know, to increase their spirituality or just get their, you know, minds back in the right place from a busy life. It's a beautiful place somewhere that I never get tired of visiting. I've been there once, and I wouldn't mind to go, another 19 times. So that's my last pick.
Well, yeah, that's I think a very personal one for you, but yeah, that sounds amazing. Personally, never been to Israel, but yeah, that's a good
and
pick. I think.
I definitely considered picking Jerusalem, but for a similar reason. But yeah, I've heard Israel's amazing.
Yep. All right. Well, let's go around real quick. Just cover your picks real quick and give us like 2 honorable mentions that you were unable to choose. Obviously, we probably have like 50 each that we didn't choose, but let's stick to 2. Dev, how about you start us off?
Okay, cool. So with my first 2 picks, I got islands. I got Jamaica and New Zealand. All of these are diverse, and there's different experiences you can have: forest, waterfall, lake, ocean, beach. So I have all of that adventure stuff in these 2 picks. And my next 2 picks, I went cities. And I went with Paris, which I think is the elite Europe city to me. And then I picked Vegas, which is just the elite tourist city. So if you want a tourist experience there, I've just got a lot of different experiences that I love, ones that I want to experience. And then for the honorable mentions, real quick, I'm going to go with Cozumel, if I want another beach, and Japan.
Both were actually on my list for sure. I Cancun, which is you can obviously go to Cozumel. Never been to Cozumel itself, and Tokyo was on my list for sure. And I was gonna sing a little song if I drafted Tokyo, but I'm not. Very good list. Sean, let's throw it to you.
Yeah. So the 2 that I definitely considered the most, I probably reached a little for the Maldives because I was planning to pick Sri Lanka in the 4th round because you kind of get a little bit of everything. Obviously, my family's from there, so we get to kind of go back and see people. But it's also pretty amazing because in like 200 miles top to bottom, you get every single experience. You get jungle, forest, beach, desert, city. Like you get everything in that period. And honestly, if I could have this back again, I'd probably take Sri Lanka instead of the Maldives. And the other one that I wanted to shout out was Egypt. Egypt is a place that I've always wanted to go. Obviously to just see all the history there, see the pyramids, see Cairo. Obviously, it hasn't been as good a place to travel the last couple of years after some of the troubles there, but I think that Egypt's a place that I've always wanted to go.
Okay, and can you just mention real quickly the ones you did draft?
Yeah, I took the 2 best cities in the world, London and New York. I took the Maldives as my beach, and I took South Africa as my wild card.
Very nice. All right, Ryan, your turn.
For the first pick, I took Hawaii, the whole country or state or whatever we're classifying.
The whole country, yeah.
The whole continent there. We're taking that. And then I took Vatican City, and then Austin as my 2 cities, and then Haifa, Israel as my wild card, as Shahan will put it. And then I think my honorable mentions, I think I would say Grand Canyon. You mentioned that, and in Arizona. And then I would have picked Paris if I had another choice. So even though it was picked, that's still my honorable mention. Paris, France. And Switzerland, right there.
Well, that's good. Yeah, for sure. I think those are really good cities, like you mentioned. So real quickly, I took Bora Bora, awesome beach. Like just actually, it's not even a beach. You got a little. It's an island. You got little huts. I love the water. Love it. You got Santorini in Greece. I think a huge honeymoon destination. Really cool views. Really vibing with that. Then I took Iceland, which is really relaxed, chill. Really, once again, another one with stunning views. And I ended up with Los Angeles. The nightlife, the touristy stuff, and the beaches. Love it. For my honorable mentions, I won't go too specific because it's just like a lot of Europe or a lot of other beach places. I'll give you a list later on. The only other thing is like I was gonna choose a national park because I really want to visit all of them, and I think there's a lot of beautiful ones. But I didn't just want to choose one. So honorable mention, just beaches, national parks, and Europe, really.
Leslie Knope approves this message.
Yes, for sure. Well, I think that wraps up another great episode of the Sheesh and Friends podcast. If you have any questions, segment ideas, or just want to ask us anything in the world, just hit us up at ashishandfriends.com. We're on Instagram at Ashish and Friends, on Twitter at Ashish and Pals, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Ashish and Friends pod. Until next time, we're out.